And in today's episode, among other things, you'll see China becoming a world leader. Wiedek's army of robots marks the world's first mass delivery of humanoid robots. Talking to deceased loved ones. The artificial intelligence app that recreates loved ones and sparks a dangerous debate. Scientists have managed to isolate a protein that regenerates an entire joint. Will we now be able to regenerate our limbs? Unitree announces the Embodied avatar. Now humans become the fuel to train robots. Steam frame Valve's headset, which could change the course of virtual reality. Let's understand all of this. Hello, impressed viewers. I'm Carlos Alves, and you're watching Incredible Reality. Let's get to the video. Yeah, and the future, the way things are going, promises cities that are more and more congested, at least for now. That's because in addition to other urban mobility solutions, we have startups working on electric aircraft with vertical takeoff and landing. That's what happened with the eVTOL Midnight Maker, which bought the Los Angeles Municipal Airport for $126 million gas sons. And this isn't just a symbolic move, okay? It's preparation for the real operation of air taxis. Asher says the location will be a testing ground for aviation technologies based on artificial intelligence. Their automated air traffic, ground operations, and digital logistics now replace processes that once needed dozens of professionals using radios, sensors, and manual communication. The company wants to use artificial intelligence to operate its vertiports, just like it is already doing to pilot its aircraft. An artificial intelligence that does all of that. The expansion goes beyond Los Angeles. Asher has announced vertiport networks in New York, San Francisco, and other key cities, in partnership with United Airlines and Stellantis. The promise is to link Manhattan to international airports in just 5 to 15 minutes a trip that now can take hours due to traffic. For all this to succeed, the Midnight aircraft must deliver. Tests so far show it's on the right track. With a range over 80 kilometers altitude above 3,000 meters and space for 4 passengers, plus a pilot if the artificial intelligence system fails. The company is expanding globally with test flights already in the United Arab Emirates. Partnership with Korea Air and Solokol, a Japan Airlines Sumitomo joint venture. This clearly shows their plan is global, not limited to the United States. I noticed something strange. Let me get it. I'm missing my glasses and this light is too bright. Armed conflicts have become less frequent each decade, but something unusual is happening. Meanwhile, global military spending has soared to unprecedented levels. A modern paradox. Humanity discusses peace but spends billions preparing for wars I hope never occur, right? At the center of this quiet race, a new key player emerges. Military technology. Between 2021 and 2023, United States startups got over $100 billion in venture capital solely for equipment creation, ranging from anti-drone systems to lethal autonomous swarms. The result is an avalanche of machines, sensors, and algorithms that make it very easy to predict what the battlefield will look like in a few years. But that didn't stop France from taking a risk and joining this technological arms race as well. During a military exercise near Paris, General Bruno Baratze, in charge of the French Army's future combat programs, made a direct announcement. France plans to deploy warrior robots to the front lines soon. He says the first ground robot capabilities will be ready in 3 years, with more advanced systems before 2024. Not as a distant dream, but as part of a strategy to face what they called high-intensity warfare in recent tests. Still no images for us. Unmanned units with legs, tracks, and wheels crossed paths full of traps, avoided obstacles, and reacted to conditions designed to simulate modern battles. For the French army, these robots could serve not only as scouts, but also for surveillance, repairs, demining, and combat maneuvers. General Tony Maffei summed up France's ambition in a phrase that really defines the spirit of this era. The robot should make combat easier, not harder. And on this battlefield, autonomous robots would be perfect pieces, according to the generals. All right, efficient, silent, and politically convenient. What does that mean? Politically convenient, huh? Only a few initial subscriptions are available. Go access it quickly and support the Realidade Impressionante channel. Thanks. I'll help you, and you help me. Some discoveries seem small at first glance. When we look at them like this, they seem like small things until you realize that they can change the entire history of medicine. Like this one, for example, a group of scientists from Texas A&M who just did the following. They identified a single protein that is capable of regenerating an entire finger joint on its own. This breakthrough brings humans closer to the salamander's almost mythical limb regeneration ability. The starting point is alarming according to their data. Over 2 million Americans currently live with amputations, a number projected to triple by 2060 due to increasing diabetes and vascular diseases. Medicine has been trying for several decades now to understand how some animals regenerate their entire limbs, while we humans are limited to recovering, at most, the tip of a finger, and that's just in a few rare cases. Something was missing, a vital biological signal, a key, and now it has a name. Fibroblast growth factor 8. The College of Veterinary Medicine and Biomedical Sciences at Texas implanted various fibroblast growth factor. Fibroblast growth factor, proteins into tissues that typically don't heal. And they discovered that, among all of them, only fibroblast growth factor 8 was able to do something extraordinary. Regenerate an entire joint. Articular cartilage, tendons, ligaments, 5 types of tissues rebuilt from a single biological command. Dr. Lindley Dawson explains that normally cells would do what they do in any trauma. They create scars. But under the effect of fibroblast growth factor 8, they change their behavior and receive different instructions. They begin rebuilding the complex structures, seemingly guided by an internal blueprint of biological engineering. Okay? It's true that the regeneration hasn't been perfect yet. The nail, for example, hasn't reappeared, but that's just a detail, right? And it didn't diminish the impact of the result at all. It represents such a powerful proof of concept that it could redefine the path to regenerating not just fingers, but arms, legs, and any limb in the future, of course. To water down my words here, think of a robot that not only imitates you, but learns from every movement you make. That's what Unitrix Robotics has just shown the world with its new Embodied avatar, a full-body teleoperation platform that turns a human being into a living algorithm. In the launch video, the humanoid robot G1 replicates everything the operator does in real time. Running, kicking, blocking strikes, throwing punches, and even taking part in a fight between 2 robots. Everything is mirrored at an impressive speed, and the look and scene immediately remind you of the movie Real Steel. But Unitrix makes it clear that this story goes way beyond entertainment. The spectacle is just the entry point because after sequences of cinematic brawls, the video changes its tone. The same G1 is seen performing household chores with obsessive precision. Vacuuming, folding clothes, organizing, stocking the fridge, and more. And it's in this contrast that the revelation lies. Unitrix calls the technology a full-body data acquisition platform. It's not a toy, okay? It's a system to power the next generation of physical intelligence, artificial intelligence within robots. Nowadays, all companies that want to build general-purpose robots face this same dilemma. How do you teach a machine to live in our real world? Tesla is betting on massive-scale simulation, and, according to some reports, also on a technology that's similar to this. At Unitrix, humans are hired and paid specifically to teach robots. Meanwhile, the American company Figure Guy records thousands of demonstrations. With this technology from the Chinese company Unitrix, the approach is more direct. They use humans as pilots, creating movements that match the robot's mechanics, which is essentially pure movement. Seamless kinematics, eliminating the gap between human physiology and the mechanical skeleton. It's more than collecting data and images of human movements. It's real-time teleoperation. This approach, known as human in the loop, is already used by companies like Onyx with their expert mode. But Unitrix pushes this idea to the extreme. It creates a robotic avatar controllable as an alternative body, capturing ideal data to train its physical artificial intelligence. Exactly what the market calls the bottleneck of robotics. Unitrix's platform solves the problem at its root. Instead of translating the human body, it captures the movements directly in the robot's body. The embodied avatar isn't robots boxing. It's an unseen data factory, a method to rapidly advance the robotics, enabling any researcher or company to create real, varied, and high-quality interactions, to train the machines that will one day act on their own. Valve has never been just a game company. It's the mind behind Half-Life, Steam, and some of the most influential technologies in our video game history. Now the company reveals its next step. A virtual reality headset that doesn't just want to compete with Meta. For example, Apple aims to change how virtual reality works. The name is Steam Frame, and the idea is quite simple. Instead of relying on wires and a computer nearby, the Steam frame fits on your head. Like lightweight glasses, it streams games wirelessly and can also run titles independently with its internal processor. It's a device called a hybrid, part portable console, part high-performance display to extend your PC. The real breakthrough is Valve's foveated streaming feature. Hope you can take that name seriously. So the headset tracks your eyes in real time? Unlike the PlayStation Virtual Reality 2 and Vision Pro, which have the GPU render just the area you're viewing, this system sends the full frame, but keeps only your focus area at maximum sharpness. It's as if the game knows exactly where to concentrate the quality bits. The trick cuts bandwidth, reduces latency, and keeps things sharp where it counts. Engineer Jeremy Selim says if the focus area is 10% of total vision efficiency can increase by up to 10 times. And the most impressive thing isn't even that. Those who tested it said they couldn't notice the peripheral blur. The effect feels natural, almost like you're one of them. And that's the best part. This works in any game and doesn't need the developer to add foveated rendering. In other words, Valve took the burden off the studios and put it on the streaming itself. Other headsets with eye tracking can also use this technique, as long as they're part of the Steam Link ecosystem. The Steam frame isn't fully dependent on your PC since it has a Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 inside. It features 16GB of RAM, expandable storage with micro-secure digital, and a Linux system that runs Android games and native titles. In other words, even away from the PC, the headset becomes a mobile virtual reality console. And if it works just like it seems to be working, maybe this is the moment when virtual reality finally stops being a niche and actually becomes a real part of the future of gaming. Yeah, and this scene looks like it's straight out of a futuristic movie, okay? Rows and rows of humanoid robots perfectly lined up inside a factory in Shenzhen, as if they were just waiting for a command to wake up. But this time, it's not fiction. Embodied Robotics just announced the world's first mass delivery of industrial humanoid robots. And this could indeed mark the beginning of a new era in global automation. The company officially announced it shipped hundreds of Walker S2 industrial humanoid robots to top partners. This announcement comes a few days after a viral video, and they showed a real army of robots that was assembled, ready for shipment. This delivery is just the tip of a much larger iceberg. Embodied claims to have an order book for 2026 that exceeds something close to $113 million. To meet this goal, the company needs to deliver hundreds of these robots now and reach the end of 2025 with more than 500 units deployed in real environments. In fact, from partners, it confirms that the ambition is great. BYD, Volkswagen, Foxconn, Dongfeng, and other major automotive and logistics companies. These sectors lose a fortune for every minute of downtime. The interest of these companies isn't just simple technological curiosity. They don't want just a toy there, they want something much more specific. Operations 24 hours a day, 7 days a week with no breaks, no fatigue, and no interruptions. And it's exactly here, at this point, that Embodied starts to do its work. And Embodied is going to start working. And now it's Bataria's turn. I believe that Bo, the foreign lieutenant, hasn't had time to work with Iron yet. That fascinating robot we've seen lately is still only displaying prototypes and demos. Embodied is trying to capture another kind of leadership, the leadership of real-world deployment, deploying hundreds of robots in factories to manage parts, tools, boxes, and logistics. And that, of course, is worth much more than any perfect video. The real test, however, starts now. Each humanoid must show it adds value in daily tasks like assembling, transporting, mounting, checking, adjusting, and repeating exhausting work. The future of these robots will be decided on the client's assembly line, not in Embodied's spotless factories. And maybe this is the real milestone of this announcement. Automation is leaving the lab and entering the real world with the shape and versatility of a human body. And that's something impressive for our times. It's not just a concept, but a finished product. Not something that's coming, but something that's already here, already working. It's a fact that some technologies come into our world as curiosities, while others arrive as alarms. And the new app from 2AAI from Los Angeles definitely sounded like the second case. Then the startup went viral by presenting something that many people have dreamed of and that many others have feared out there. Interactive digital avatars that recreate the appearance, the voice, and even the behavior of deceased family members. This future truly feels like science fiction. A viral demonstration shows a pregnant woman speaking with a digital version of her late mother. Months later, the avatar appears reading stories to her baby. Years later, she speaks to the child returning from school. And the sequence ends with the adult son announcing to his digital grandmother that he will become a great-grandfather, all with a certain naturalness, which is unsettling. The company's video says 3 minutes can feel like an eternity. Co-founder Callum Ward went even further by stating that the platform is building a living archive of humanity and finished the provocation. And what if the loved ones we've lost could be part of our future? The idea is already available on the Apple Store, okay? The app creates what they call a hollow avatar, a digital recreation that looks like, talks like, and even shares memories, which is based on data provided by the users themselves. It's a form of enlightenment, an interactive legacy, or as some critics say, a technological refusal of the end. The Black Mirror comparison was instant. It was impossible to hold back, especially with the episode Be Right Back, where a woman digitally brings back a deceased partner. Experts warn that this can blur memories, attachment, and even the natural grieving process. After all, what does it mean to move on when technology offers a digital version that never disappears? And who decides how faithful this avatar is to the original? Or when it will stop being faithful to the original? If you enjoyed this episode, leave a comment. In my view, the future has arrived and it's a little scary at first. At least commenting here. You boost this video's engagement, so YouTube recommends more of our channel's videos to you and others, helping more people discover us. All sources for what you've seen are in the description. Thanks for following me. When you comment, I know you watched the whole video. Really, thank you. Bye. See you next time.